Gamesense is one of the most underrated skills in CS2, and the fastest way to improve it is by learning to watch and think like the pros. Today, I'm walking you through exactly how to do that. I'm Louis, and in this video, we'll break down a demo of Furia as I guide you through the key questions to ask while watching gameplay. You'll see how to analyze positioning, rotations, and decision making, not just watch passively, but actively learn by asking the right questions. I'll show you step by step how to find the answers in the demo and develop that game sense that separates good players from great ones. Timestamps are below if you want to jump to specific parts. So starting off with the first buy round, Yuri's going to have a glow and some full nades, and we're going to be focused on him the whole game to really try to understand some of the moves that he makes and kind of teach you guys on how you can improve your game sense just by simply watching a pro player. So at the start of the round, he's going to throw this nade. Now this is a really good nade, and the reason is because a lot of people love to start close B, and you can see JDC already has 80 HP already. So Yuri kind of knows, since obviously people love to start close B, he just wants some free damage on the B player. Now he's going to start to spam, and I want to ask myself, why would he spam like this in upper B to show that he's there? And I think the reason is that he does it as soon as they start to take cat control, and it might be because he's trying to mask that there's not as many people in mid as he wants big clan to think. And you're going to see that a lot of people are going towards mid, so I'm going to guess he was just spamming here to keep the B guy kind of engaged a little bit and make sure that the CTs don't know that everyone's going to be running up cat. Now he is aware of the upper B presence, and he's going to keep clearing this upper B push. And the reason I want to ask myself questions on what Yuri's doing is because it's going to help my game sense, because you can see if I'm able to ask, why does Yuri keep trying to clear upper B? It's because these players here on the T side have just paused, which means it's gone totally quiet. Now usually when it goes quiet, the CTs tend to decide to make a move because they want to guess what is happening, but you can see Yuri is very aware of the pause that is happening on cat. He's making sure that the CTs aren't making any moves at all. There's no noise being made on the map at all, so he's just going to keep checking to see if the move is towards upper B. Now this can give Furia a really good idea that maybe they are stacked over towards A, but you can see that they're still clearly committed to cat. And I'm just going to kind of skip through this here, and now they're still very quiet. They dropped csgo, they're just letting them play, and now they're just simply walking up cat. There's just some really good team play going on, and I mean that's pretty much the round. Post plant scenario, he's just going to use his nades. I think that's pretty obvious. We don't have to ask any questions about that, and that was a pretty good round from Yuri. I think understanding that he's checking flanks when the teaser pause is very good. That's something that, you know, obviously if you are newer to Counter-Strike, you definitely just learned that when it is quiet on the map, you definitely want to be checking to make sure that there is no pushes happening. So Yuri's going to do the same start with the nade, and now he's going to go towards lower with csgo. Now this is something new that we haven't seen yet. They're going to be throwing some mid nades, and it looks like they're going to be taking some duels. So he's going to molly off cat for what I believe, just to make sure that no one can peek them there so they can get it for free. As you can see, it actually separated the duel from these two players with that molly. Yuri's very aware of the smoke. Now Yuri's going to do the same start again with the nade. He's really trying to condition the CTs since he's done this nade so much. Again, you have to ask yourself, why is he throwing this nade so much? And what he's trying to do is condition the CTs to not start super close, which makes me think eventually Furia will do some sort of B rush. And when they do that, they're not going to be too scared of anyone playing this close position just because Yuri has naded it so much. So he's trying to do this conditioning thing where he just doesn't want any CTs being close to tunnels. Now he does throw a little getaway flash, and if you guys do watch my videos, I actually think that's really bad because if people are flashing over tunnels like this and you don't see anyone peeking, you can see how the CTs are kind of reacting. They're like, hold up, I think he just threw that flash to get away. Now we're going to start to move our pieces a little bit. So JDC is going to start just spotting mid from inside of B, but it's not really keeping anything promised because it didn't make these guys a long move at all. So now they're going to do a late long take, and they're just kind of clearing everything out. Yuri's going to throw the cross smoke. If you guys didn't know, that is the cross smoke. Make sure you guys write that down. And now they're just going to be taking their time. Now this is a really good molly to throw just to deny anyone playing behind that box. He's making sure he's dodging all the flashes. And you notice how they're taking their time as well. Yuri never crossed first because he's thinking that there might be a nade for this CT smoke, but it never came. And now he's just going to fill the shoes of his teammates. His teammates also know that they obviously can't nade it. And now it's a 1v3 post plant. Now before I get into the next tip, let me tell you about SkinsMonkey. Is a CS2 skins trading site marketplace that provides an instant way to get new skins. The favorite thing about SkinsMonkey is that I can trade skins that I no longer want and trade it for a skin that has equal value. If you use code LouisCS2, you get a $5 bonus on your first trade. And if you want to buy skins, you can get a 30% deposit bonus plus an extra 5% using my code. The link is down in the description. Thank you SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Now, one thing I want to note right here, this is something very important. Yuri does have a really good spawn to take this op pick, but watch where he puts his crosshair. I'm sure some of you guys are going to understand on why why he puts his crosshair in this position first. And that's because he was conditioning this nade where he knows that no one's going to be starting close anymore because they're going to anticipate obviously a nade landing here. So anyone starting B is going to be coming through the window, or they're going to go through door and then jump on the plat. So he's aiming back on this back box, knowing that his conditioning hopefully did work and no one is close. And he's just going to be sitting here holding. And he actually gets a kill on hype, which is very important. And now he's going to just dump a flash, maybe make the CTs think that they are going out towards B. But you can see that the CTs are starting to discover that they're not. Now, what's really important here as well, this is just a whole team thing as well, where once they get that kill, they're not just rushing out, because there could be 2 players sitting here on B, and they actually are just taking their time to exec the site. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, they just threw a door smoke coming in. JDC is going to start to really get those nades down. And Yuri's just really team playing, holding some angles for his team. And Fury is actually not going to overcommit to this. They just wanted to see if they could get the site. Maybe a big clan over rotated. And Yuri's still here just going to farm up, see if there's any re-aggression. Because again, after this execute and they couldn't go out, Yuri's still going to throw his nade. He's letting them know that there's still 1 player here. But since it's quiet, he's very aware of the re-aggression, just like we saw in the earlier rounds. And he obviously is able to capitalize off of this. And he's still going to do the same thing, but then eventually get punished by Tabson. So now in the next round, Yuri is actually going to gap towards upper B. Now, those are really good flashes that he just threw, because these are going to blind anyone crossing into pit if they are trying to play over in this position. So if you guys didn't know those flashes, make sure you write those down. And you can see that Furia are just going to be coming over here taking long. Car was already mollied, so he decided not to waste it. And now let's see what happens here. Yuri's playing anti-flash, making sure that if anyone wants to flash through the smoke, he can obviously swing and just instantly kill him. And he's just trying to get some spams down, knowing that Big Clan is definitely going to save this round. Now, something important to note as well is that Furia has like okay money, so they're probably telling themselves that they could lose 1 to 2 players on this hunt. And that's why they're really grouped up right here, because they don't want to lose too many guns in the hunt, because if they do, they're gonna have to drop too many. It's gonna break their economy. So they decided to go in a pack to try to hunt, which is something very important if you guys are on a team to just kind of note that they're not going 1 by 1. They're making sure there's a good trade opportunity just so they can really keep their money up on the T side. So you can see they're trying to do a late long take, but Yuri missed his flash. See, guys, even pro players miss their flashes. Isn't that funny? But now they're going to go over here towards Cat. They know long isn't necessarily an option, but Molodoy decided he could re-clear it. So the reason Yuri also gives Molodoy bomb here, a lot of people might think this is troll, but it's just so if anyone is playing in like these weird positions, Molodoy can't really trade him just because he has the op. So Yuri's just securing the bomb just so he can go clear these angles for Molodoy. So he's going to smoke cross, and I actually really want to see how Yuri plays this round. So Molodoy does have his top sight, and now they're going to throw a block smoke. So this is very common now in Dust 2 meta, where people will throw the block smoke for long. It looks like Yuri's just going to try to take a timing through it, but it looks like Crimbo's holding for him. They threw a re-smoke, and yeah, he's going to get punished. That's not necessarily a bad play, but if they maybe threw some nades on A site before that, I'm sure maybe he could have got away with it. But nonetheless, it was a risk that he decided to take, and risks are good to take like that in desperate rounds where it's a 3v5. So if you guys ever get yelled at in a, pug or Premier game for doing that, make sure you guys know that it's definitely okay to take those sort of risks. So now Yuri is going to go slow towards lower. He doesn't want to take it solo because he knows that someone could be in here. So something I could ask myself here is, why does Yuri go so slow towards lower? And it's clear to me that, they obviously were not spotting for anyone getting in lower at the start of the round. Fallen does jump down suicide, but he could have got timinged because he's throwing these cat nades. So Yuri definitely knows this because they communicate in their team. So he's going to start to take it slow. But my question is that I need to ask myself to improve my game sense is, when does he decide to go lower? And you can see he starts to go lower after there's a lot of pressure in top mid. Quesarado's really making a lot of noise, trying to spam, trying to distract that, if there is CTs in lower, just saying, hey guys, they can come down mid. Now you can see what he's doing right here. This is something very important to note, because if you don't ask yourself questions, you're never going to find the answer and improve. And Yuri doesn't clear this far side of lower until Fallen is in tradable distance. So you're going to see Yuri doesn't even decide to waste his Molotov because Fallen's saying, I'm coming down mid, so you don't even need to waste it. So Yuri's not clearing any of this. He's waiting for Fallen. And you're going to see as soon as Fallen's close, this is when he decides to clear, because if Yuri somehow dies to someone playing in this position, Fallen can instantly trade, or since Yuri is being very quiet, this guy might decide to try to kill Fallen, and then Yuri's able to trade him. So seeing how his teammates are moving just for him to clear lower is something that I'm also learning in my own game sense here, that when I default towards lower, if I think someone could be lower, I need to wait for my teammates to come down mid as a little distraction. Now, he's not afraid of making noise here just because of the amount of nades that are being thrown. But you can see he's kind of getting screwed over by his teammates' flash, and they're deciding to leave. Now, if you guys don't know anything about team play, something I want to know what Yuri is doing right here is that he's holding angles that Yakinder can't. So you're going to see Yakinder is going to path up against this wall so he can clear these angles here, which is very important. But since he can't look at corner, Yuri is covering him just by staying in long house. He's making sure that Yakinder isn't getting peeked from this side, and he's just having really good team play. He's being a really decent support player. So now they're on tech 9s. It looks like they think someone could be on lower, even though Molodoy is down mid. Yuri's just going to clear it fast so Molodoy can progress up cat. But it looks like he's just going to run and gun down. Okay. He's going to use the smoke on door after they take B. And this is a 3v2 post plant. So it's really important to ask yourself, how do they really set this up? And it looks like Yuri might be aware of someone in tunnels. He's going to get this kill. And he actually dies to window. I mean, that's not a bad fight if you know someone could be in tunnels just facing the smoke. But his teammate clearly didn't have his back in that. So that was very unfortunate. So now we're going to see Yuri going back to just defaulting in upper B. And his teammate dies in lower. So now my question is, what happens in the round? Because now it's a 3v3. He's making some noise, putting some pressure down. You can see what it's doing to the CT. You can see Hyped is like, hold up, do I need to come help? And this is giving Yuri a lot of space in this area of the map. Just because this one smoke made Hype just help over towards B. And now he's going to be throwing some cat nades. Now, the reason he is doing this is because we can see Yakinder's also on site. So something I want to ask myself is, when did Yuri really start to pressure? So by the time he starts moving and making noise, he wants to do this because this is when Yakinder is out long. You can see when he's about to cross the corner here, Yuri starts to make a step and he's like, okay, Yakinder said he's out long. I want to create space for him. Now, earlier, I didn't see this on the minimap because I have NA education, but this made Hype move, which is really big because it opened up all of this for Yakinder to take. Just that little bit of pressure. And there, I think he spotted this guy on cat. So now he's really trying to deny and push him back. And he's kind of letting Yakinder know that, like, hey, this guy's on cat. I'm trying to push him off. And now Yuri's just waiting for the CTs to aggress in mid because Fallen is clearly over here with the bomb walking up long. And I want to see if Yuri does anything to help Fallen cross. But it looks like Fallen's just going to do it all by himself. They know one player is on cat. They know that one player's probably over towards B. So Yuri keeps checking for lower. And now the cat player gets some contact from Yakinder. I think Fallen threw the bomb across. And Yuri will probably try to play late round here. He's hearing the rotates through mid, and he should get at least 2 kills, which he does. They know the last player was on cat. So you can see that when players get other space for free, what Yuri did is good because he's pressuring this side of the map and making the CTs move in that direction, which opened up the round for Yakinder and essentially just won them the round all together. And we literally learned that simply just by asking ourselves questions by watching a pro demo. And this is just going to improve your game sense if you do this a lot. And even one demo a day just by asking yourselves questions is very important. Now, since this is the last round of the half, it's very normal, especially in North America, for CTs to just pretty much run it down. And I think that's what Yuri is expecting here, just holding outside of tunnels. So after a while, he decides to start to progress when there's contact off cat. So after 2 kills, Yuri knows I have to take a risk. It's a 5v3. Let me see what I can do. So he's going to just walk down towards lower. And now it's a 3v2. I think they have a good idea that the CTs were playing heavy towards long. And Yuri is starting to hear the rotates in mid. So now he's just going to patiently wait for Molodoy outside long, maybe thinking they can do some sort of push and pull because Yuri still does have a smoke and a flash. Oh my gosh, guys, write this down. Yuri is waiting for Molodoy to peek mid just so this mid player's crosshair is way above where Yuri is. So if we watch JDC here in mid, this is perfect team play. This is tier 1 Counter-Strike, guys, that again, you can simply learn how to do just even if you're in a solo queue game and this is the situation that you're in, tell your teammate to just peek top mid because you're going to see JDC's crosshair is trying to fight Molodoy and then Yuri's just out mid like that. So he's going to throw a mid to B smoke. He's going to flash, and they're not going to go out mid. They're still waiting for the CTs to make another move. And Molodoi gets a kill on the A player. And you can see the team play that they have, how Yuri is looking over towards B, Molodoi is looking at A, and now after that, they're simply just going to try to run towards A. Crimbo does have an op. Oh my gosh. This is a close round. He had like 1 second to plant. That was a really good round. That was... One thing that I think you guys can really learn a lot from Yuri just by watching his demo is how to use your teammates properly, because there's a lot of times where he's by himself, he's hearing movement around the map, or he knows that, you know, players might be in certain areas, and he's using his teammates not to necessarily bait, but to just almost distract so he's able to get the kill. Now, I'm eager to see if he kind of keeps the same play style on CT side, or if he's somewhat more of a just outright passive player, because he does have that lurker mentality and that lurker playstyle. So we'll see what he likes to do on CT. Now, another question that you guys can ask, especially if you're newer to Counter-Strike, why is Yuri looking straight up at the sky? Now, you might think this is kind of weird, but you can spot the fast speed smokes very early just by looking up at the sky. And this is very common on overpass as well, where if you're jumping out of heaven, you can spot the fast heaven smoke and you're able to tell if it's a rush. So he's just going to be playing close with his duel. He's just going to be spotting. Once he gets contact, he'll use the smoke and then just go fire mode, which he's going right now. He's looking like a good cowboy, just shooting them up. And he's able to get 2 kills, maybe even 3, but he ran out of ammo. So, I mean, just a decent normal Dust 2 meta start by Yuri there. Nothing new. Just, it was pretty cool how he's spotting for smokes. You don't see that a lot, especially on Dust 2. But on a map like Overpass, you definitely see that a lot. So now he's just going to smoke upper B. He's rotating over towards A because they obviously know there's Glocks up cat. And he's just trying to take these headshot angles. This is really important as well. He's not giving his life away for free. He's not overextending. You can see that he's waiting for Caserado to clear cat for him, which makes it safe for him to move up. And Fallen also at his top side as well. So you can see even on CT side, Yuri also has really good team play that we can learn a lot from just how he's using his teammates in the round. So now we're going to see a anti-rush B start. He's going to use his molly and just play at the window, making sure they're not rushing, and he's going to do this really cool jump spot. And again, just by simply watching demos, we can see how different players like to play their position, and this jump spot is something that I rarely see out of any B player. So just seeing that is really cool. Now, he did just use his smoke a little bit before the 1 minute mark. Now, Yuri was aware of B obviously being gapped, so you can see that he was checking it, but he obviously was a little bit too lazy, and Crimbo got the upper hand. That's definitely something that's very hard to expect. But Yuri also, if you guys noticed, played in a really good position where he wasn't exposed to anyone walking out B. He had to strafe out to clear it. All right, now onto a buy round. Yuri has a lower spawn, but he's not going to use it. He likes to nade cross at the start. We're seeing the other molly start. And Yuri actually really, at the start of the round, he likes to start at window to see if there is a rush. Because if there is, I don't think he's the type of player that wants to give his life away. So he's constantly just starting at the window. Now you can see that he is laying down some spams, showing that he's playing towards back plat. After he spams, he moves because he just gave his position away. So when the T's do go out B, that's something they're going to have to worry about. Now the lurk smoke comes in. I want to see how he likes to play this. There's a lot of mid pressure going on, and with that B lurk smoke, you can see that he's just waiting to play off of Caserado. So he's just sitting here. Now he's the one that's taking contact. He wants to make sure no one's walking out B. Now they have a really good high-low setup. This is actually really good. You can see if anyone decides to peek out mid, they're just going to go into 2 players playing right here. Now sooner or later, Yuri is going to have to start to worry about B, and he has no utility to block. There is a molly that does come out, a door smoke, so he's going to run into sight. Now, this is something to note as well. Yuri's not doing this alone. He's also in here with Caserado right with him, because if he was going in here by himself with no support, if Caserado had 2 flashes that he could start just throwing back sight, that would be very good. But since Caserado has no utility and they were so close together, they clearly just chose to run in. Now, this could backfire. This could be good. You can see that, you know, Yuri obviously got his 1 kill, but they did something together, and that's what's very important. As long as you guys are doing things together inside of Counter-Strike, that is what is going to make you guys have really good team play. All right, so now we have the next buy round. They're going to nade the cross again. Yuri's going to throw his instant molly, and he's going to do his normal start where he's just starting a window. No one's rushing. Going to dump his nades early. This is what he did in the prior round when he got spammed. So I wonder how he plays now with only a flash, because he's clearly trying to block upper B, but I mean, I guess I want to ask myself, why would he do this? Because it looks like they're playing a little bit for mid, because if he's blocking B super early, he wants to make sure that no one is going out B, but it just looks like a really weird round on why he would dump his util. Now, obviously, Yuri definitely knows what he's doing, but I just have to ask myself questions. Why is he doing that? Because now he just lost his mid player in mid, which means now he no longer has any support. And a mid to B smoke just came out, and he's still just standing right here. Now he's going to have to try to clear mid with csgo, which is what they tried to do, but they just failed. And now he's going to play a headshot angle. This can be a really strong angle, but not for Yuri. So that was a questionable round. You know, I want to ask myself, why was Yuri doing the things that he was doing? And sometimes like this, you're just not going to have an answer. He decided to dump all of his utility, and maybe he was thinking that Molodoi would eventually rotate to B to use that utility. But since he died, he really had no plan after, and he literally just got walked out on, which was very unfortunate. Now, Furia luckily won that round, so now it is 12-8. I didn't throw a cross nade that round. Now, Yuri's just maybe trying to pull some attention from upper B with that flash to make him think they maybe peeked. He decided to nade dump again, and you can see that it's almost a similar setup where there was 2 mid the last time they did this, so maybe there is some sort of plan. It looks like the round prior the plan, because now it's obvious. Since I asked myself that question, watching further into the demo, I'm finding the answer. The reason Yuri wanted to nade dump was so he could play these close angles because he expected it to be B, and if he had utility in a position like this, it would just be a waste. So this is where csgo comes in, and he's just pretty much acts like he's Yuri, because if they did decide to go B, this would be a really strong position for him because he hasn't been seen playing there at all. Easy trade going on, and a very easy round. Now, we definitely did learn a lot from Yuri, but in order to improve your game sense, all you have to do is just watch any demo that you want of a really high tier match and ask yourself questions on why they do things. And sometimes you may not have the answer, and sometimes you may have to really deep dive to try to find it, but that's what makes Counter-Strike an exciting game to play.